remember this moment when all you said was, I just want to be with you, Papa. Oh, now you don't want. Now all you want is your boyfriend. So doon din nakakatawa. Ba't ka ba nagtatrabaho, di ba? Para syempre to provide the better life for your kids, for your family.
So from radio to red carpet, everyone, let's please welcome Gino Quillamor.
The first Marvel encounter I ever had was Captain America Civil War. So that was Chris Evans, Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan. I was terrified. I'm so happy I landed it. But at the same time, you're like, am I worthy?
Love to travel? Welcome to your next destination. Pack your passport and join CK go over the itinerary. Stories from abroad, travel hacks, and spot recos. Now boarding. Wired to Wander, powered by Smart TRAVē.
Hey everyone, it's your Sizzy and you're tuned in to Wired to Wonder. Here we dive into travel stories, tips, and hacks that make exploring the world not just a fun experience, but also something that lets us connect with different people and different cultures. So if you see travel as an opportunity for discovery or kahit self-care man yan, then you've come to the right place. And of course, wag na nating patagalin pa. Let's meet our guest right away. So from radio to red carpets, he's journeyed through some of the most exciting stories and conversations out there. Everyone, let's please welcome Gino Quillamor.
Hey,
Hello,
CK.
Gino.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Happy to be here.
How are you?
Doing all right. Still recovering from the last trip that I had with the kids.
We were just talking about it kanina. Actually, it's very timely. When I was reviewing our episode for today, I saw that you will be our guest. And sabi ko, sakto, kakauwi lang.
Literal, kakauwi ko lang. So, but always, I mean, I've always enjoyed traveling. It's a very different experience now with kids. It was a different experience with one, became different with two, and it's, an adventure when it's three. So yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice actually. So to our viewers, Gino actually, we met already before in one of
we worked together before.
We worked together before. Pero mas kilala talaga siya ng partner
Same age
ko.
bracket tayo, di ba?
I was just about to say.
Baka makalusot lang.
I was just about to say mas kilala siya ng boyfriend ko, as Mikey Reyes. So I was actually talking to Mikey. Sabi ko, babe, can you give me tips? Because it's really hard to be in front of a really known host, and it's hard to interview someone na alam mo magaling sa ginagawa nila. So he was just telling me, sabi ni Mikey sa akin, no, just ask him, be natural as you can. Alam niya, kilala ka naman ni Gino. We were just talking about it. Ganyan. Sabi niya, ka-vibes mo yun. Ka-vibes ko naman.
And you know what? Honestly, as an interviewer myself, it's always weird when you're the one being asked questions.
Really?
Yeah. It's so much easier for me to just, ask questions because I'm so used to it. Like, I've been doing it for, I don't know, since I started, which was like 2008.
I was 8.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. That's one way to go about it. No, but seriously, like it's always odd when you have to take off the interviewer hat and put on the interviewee hat. So yeah, let's just chill. You know
talking about that, because I've seen a lot of your interviews the past few, I think, years na din. Because you would always have this movie releases, the one also where you interviewed Anthony
Mackie.
Anthony Mackie for Captain America.
Yes.
That was
Brave New World.
So can you tell us something about that experience? Like every time you face someone, just like Anthony or kahit anyone basically, what's that experience like whenever you get to interview someone?
Well, I'm a big nerd. Always have been. Ever since grade school, I was reading comic books. Ever since high school, I was watching cartoons, animated films, and whatever. And so the first Marvel encounter I ever had was for Captain America Civil War. So that was Chris Evans, Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, the director Joe Russo. I was terrified. As in, takot na takot ako. Kasi I mean, obviously, okay, it's one thing to interview people. And it's a totally different thing when you're interviewing somebody you're a big fan of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like parang kunwari, I don't know, for Swifties out there, it's like you're interviewing Taylor Swift. You know what I mean? Like, so it's such a huge, and you put them on this pedestal because you think, like ako, when Chris Evans came on stage, in my head, I'm like, that's not Chris Evans, that's Captain America. And by the time that I got to interview Anthony Mackie for the second time, which was for Brave New World, not naman to say that I wasn't nervous anymore, pero alam mo, I was kind of already used to it. I already knew what I was I was gonna go for. I already knew how it worked. But the first time kasi that, we were put in a press junket, they don't tell you a lot of things. Like for one, in my head, the interview would be something like this. But what they don't tell you is it actually happens in a small hotel room that is blacked out like anything. All the windows are covered because, they have to make it look like a studio and whatever. It's a very efficient line. Kasi nakapila kayong lahat ng interviewers from Asia Pacific, nakapila kayo lahat sa labas. And then they call you in. So parang, CK De Leon. When you enter, there's a chair and the artist is already there sitting down. And it's a very specific time frame of 5 minutes. When we say go, your timer starts, that's it. And you have all these ideas of like, syempre parang if na-meet mo yung idol mo, dahil mong gusto sabihin, di ba na parang, oh my God, I'm such a big fan, blah, blah, blah. But you have to fit in all of the questions that you have and factor in the fact that you only have 5 minutes and not a moment to spare. And then when I sat down, I remember this distinctly, it was Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan. When I sat down, I wanted to adjust the chair a little bit. And then when I was about to adjust the chair, everybody was like, no, please don't move the chair. So alam mo yung parang, okay, I'm going to be super stiff here. And then like, wait, can I bring out my notes? Because all my questions are here. And then honestly, like the 5 minutes that I had, it was a blur. Like the first 2 minutes, because I had this whole idea of like, because Anthony Mackie started out, at least from what I know of him, he started out in 8 Mile. He was Papa Doc. Siya yung kalaban ni Eminem in the rap battle. I wanted to bring that up. I wanted to bring up Sebastian Stan and how he was in Gossip Girl. None of that happened. Because in the moment, like, biglang 5 minutes lang pala. So it's really, I guess, the first time you ever do it, it's surviving. And then once you learn how to survive, then you kind of fine-tune your process on how to actually interview them. Because you already know how it's going to go.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's nice because I actually thought na whenever you guys do the press junkets, I thought it was like a big event and then biglang isa-isa.
It starts off that way. So parang merong whole of Asia Pacific and then the artists are there in front. And then not everyone kasi gets these slots for the interviews, the one-on-ones. There are one-on-ones, there are roundtable interviews. If it's a roundtable interview, then that means there's like 8 of you and then the artists are there. So parang one example of that we got to do for roundtable was Chadwick Boseman, Michael B. Jordan, Lupita Nyong'o, and Ryan Coogler, the director of Black Panther. So they were all in the table and there were 7 of us. Tas iba rin yun kasi parang because you're not competing, but you're essentially sharing time with other representatives. Palakasan ng loob. Like parang if you want to ask a question, step up to the plate and ask. And it's so entertaining to see rin na they're very strict. Obviously, when you're dealing with stars of this caliber, bawal magpa-picture, bawal magdala ng paraphernalia na ipapasign or whatever. But you'd see certain representatives na alam mo yung wala akong pakialam, papasign ko to.
Dire-diretso na
Tas yung
lang.
iba, pasimple na in the table, there was a Black Panther comic book.
Yeah.
And then after the interview, Michael B. Jordan was just like, hey, who owns that comic book? And the girl was just like, oh, that's mine. All right, let me sign it. So alam mo yung without directly saying na please sign my magaling. May mga daya na ganyan na you'll learn as you go on.
So out of all of those experiences, out of all of those stories, was there ever a time yung talagang nag-stick sa'yo?
Paul Rudd. Like, he's a wonderful human being. Okay, I mean, obviously, like, when you're talking about, like, Hollywood actors, like, I love Chris Evans. I love Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan. Would have loved to interview Robert Downey Jr., but I was on my honeymoon when they did Infinity War in Singapore. But Paul Rudd, man, like, this is, hindi mo na to time pero in Clueless with Alicia
Clueless,
Silverstone.
I know, but only the bida.
Okay, so that's Alicia Silverstone. She had a brother. Well, not really brother, parang half brother or whatever. Who was played by Paul Rudd. He was also in Friends and whatever. And, you know, he's a majority of people know who Paul Rudd is. And yun nga, like what I was mentioning earlier, when you enter the interview room, the artist is sitting down and then you just sit down across him and that's when you talk. With Paul Rudd, when I entered the room, he was standing up like by the door and he was saying, hey, I'm Paul. I shook his hand and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, of course I know who you are. You're Paul Rudd. And I think what I really liked about my interview with him is that majority of these interviews, you can only imagine what the artists are going through. Like you're asked the same question for multiple days and it's tiring, it's exhausting. Majority of the people, and especially we especially if it's like a superhero film, the question is always like, what's your gym regimen? Because you're so buff.
Yeah.
So paulit-ulit yan.
Mga
Ilang beses na
typical.
nasasagutin yan na parang pagod na ako, ayoko nang sagutin to. And they're probably like jet lagged, you know what I mean? But Paul Rudd, like when you were talking to him and I was interviewing him, like it felt like just a conversation of normal human beings. It didn't feel like I'm an interviewer interviewing Paul Rudd. It just felt like Paul Rudd talking to Gino. Ganon. Tapos parang like, he was so you know how when you're talking to somebody, you know when they're actually listening.
Yes.
You know when they're actually just talking to you out of politeness. This felt like he actually cared about like the questions that I was asking. And it was just such a nice feeling to be able to have that. So immediately after the interview, one of his movies is called I Love You, Man. So I told him like, I just have to say this, man, but I love you, man. And he was like, oh, thanks. And then he was the one who told me, parang, yeah, let's take a photo together, even hugged me. So I'm like, legit, that's Paul Rudd. So yeah, I think, and everybody in that interview who had the same opportunity that I did, mga seasoned interviewers na to, like they were all stammered at how nice he was, how polite he was, how great he was of a human being. So yeah.
I have a question though. Do you ever have that feeling, diba, whenever you get to meet someone na you just watch or someone that you just look up to, do you ever get that parang imposter syndrome? Na parang, okay, why am I here? Like, how do you get over that? Na parang,
of course, like it happens quite often. Na parang, and again, I'm such a nerd. So alam mo yung to be in these like Star Wars conventions, you know, Marvel conventions, DC. I was part of the DC fandom also na parang they made me the host for the global thing. Alam mo yung, of course, when it happens, you're like, yes, I'm so happy I landed it. But at the same time, you're like, am I worthy? Okay, there was one specific instance na medyo na-prove ko sa sarili ko na, okay, I belong here. I am a nerd. When I was shooting for DC fandom, it was during the pandemic. So they sent over equipment to the house. I was shooting and they were on like Zoom and they were watching my shoot. There was a part where there's a mention of Ra's al Ghul. Now, in the animated series, they refer to him as Ra's al Ghul. In the movies, he's Ra's al Ghul. And these are both licensed ways of saying it. And then when I brought that up while I was shooting, they were like, good job. Good job that you caught that. You wanted to see the different way of pronouncing it because like even we have a different way. So the little moments like that are like what kind of reassures you that you are where you're supposed to be. And if you're not, well, somebody believes that you're supposed to be there. So just make it work. Yun na lang.
That's nice to hear because I think, especially with, let's say, your line of work wherein you get to meet a lot of big personalities talaga.
Yeah.
And you know how sometimes people, let's say, pag may nami-meet tayo, you know, parang natitigilan tayo lagi.
Yeah.
Natitigilan tayo. You don't know how to shake off all of those parang nervousness. So it's nice to know that na parang whenever you just remind yourself of why you were even considered. My question now is, whenever you go to those like events or press junkets abroad, do you see it as work or do you see it as parang reward, parang vacation?
I have to see it as work. I have to see it as work first because again, I'm such a fan. I'm such a fanboy. And I cannot let that overshadow what I'm there for. Because if I'm just going to fan out, I'm just going to be like, oh my God, Ryan Reynolds, I love you. Although I'm not sure if I can hold myself in a professional manner with that because I really love the guy. But yeah, I have to constantly remind myself na, okay, before you become a fan, you're an interviewer first. You're here for a job. When you're done with that job, then by all means, fan away. If there's a way that you can balance both. Because I mean, obviously, I think human psychology lang na medyo we all want validation of some sort. Everybody on the planet wants some form of validation. And so for an actor, that validation comes in the form of I loved your work. I loved how you portrayed this role or whatever. So I have to factor that in also na parang when people are at ease, when you make them feel good about themselves, then they let their guard down, they put their walls down and they're easier to interview, they're easier to talk to. So I try to do that also. I can't just go into an interview and be like, what's great about this movie? You know what I mean? Like you have to establish rapport first. You have to kind of break down their walls a little bit so that you get a better interview than what most people will get. So that's what I always try to aim for.
Self-care with traveling is never overrated. If you love exploring the world or just dreaming about your next getaway, tune into Wired to Wander. Here, stories, hacks, and recos are told by travel enjoyers for the travel enjoyers. So whether you're crossing time zones or cruising overseas, feed your wanderlust through the podcast. Streaming now, powered by Smart TRAVē.
After all of the work, let's say you were in Singapore,
Yeah.
what else do you do with your time in
Ah,
that specific country? Let's go to your personal agenda.
how honest
naman.
are we here? I always end up, I enjoy the occasional drink here and there. I always end up having fun. I've even outside of work, I've always loved to travel. It's something that my wife kind of instilled upon me. Like before I met my wife, I did not go anywhere. Maybe went to Hong Kong with my family, Japan. But it was always just like, oh, I'm just going to go to the hotel and then get on the tour bus or whatever. And then I met my wife who was super like, let's go and get lost somewhere. You know what I mean? And I loved that feeling of wanderlust, that whole, you don't know where you're going to end up, but you enjoy where you are anyway. So every single time that we would travel, like we would find ourselves, like before kids, we would find ourselves just walking in a random street, not knowing where we're going and just finding out, whatever's there. So yeah, eventually, when I started to work abroad also, if I had free time, that's what I would do. Na parang, okay. And especially when the interview part is done na and you have your free time. Kasi prior to that, you're kind of preoccupied about like, it's crazy because like you spend a week thinking about 3 to 5 minutes. Na parang for that entire week, you're preoccupied with research, you're preoccupied with how to make the conversation interesting or whatever. Tapos yung output mo, 5 minutes lang. And with social media now, parang, 20, 30 minutes, 20, 30 seconds lang yung gagamitin na. No? So that's crazy. But yeah, I enjoy going around. I enjoy eating. I enjoy drinking, especially in places that have a lot of drinks, like Korea, Japan. They have a very strong drinking culture.
Yeah, they do.
I've gone on a few bar crawls locally, so yeah, that's always fun.
With all of the personalities you've met, let's say with work, even with personal life, were they ever a part of how you see like the world or how you see travel in general? Did a personality, did the work experience ever inspired you in a different way na parang I want to try this out whenever I travel?
I guess to some degree. There was this one celebrity that we were able to talk to and they were super into snowboarding and skiing. And I've never snowboarded or skied in my life prior to that moment. And then, but I would wakeboard here. And then, kasi parang for me, parang, okay, you're gonna travel to a different country, rent a board, ang dami mong gear, and hindi siya mura. So I think because of how passionate that person was about it, I ended up trying out snowboarding. First in Japan and then eventually in our honeymoon, we were in Switzerland. You know that Toblerone mountain, the Zermatt? I cannot believe, it still drives me crazy to this day that I was able to snowboard there. Kasi if you ask high school version of me na parang, abot ka ba ng Switzerland? Gagawin ko dun. Gagawin ko sa Switzerland. Diba? Parang kalokohan. Diba? It was such a far-fetched dream. And even for when I was there, I would sit down on the mountain and be like, I can't believe I'm here. And kind of cool pa because there's a mountain there where you can snowboard down to France, you can snowboard down to Italy, and then Switzerland. All from one mountain. So that's ridiculous. I'm still very grateful for that moment.
So are you the type of traveler na you're very spontaneous?
Very. I don't like plans. I don't like, I know nothing wrong with planning. It's just not my style. I don't like getting on a tour bus. I don't like being confined. I like, if I want to go here, I'll go here. If I want to stay here, I'll stay here. Kasi diba, you know how like tour buses usually, like, of course they'll take you to touristy places. And it's great because they're touristy places for a reason. I don't like the time constraints lang kasi na parang, you go shopping here, you only have an hour and a half. Or you go here. And sometimes I find myself na parang, I don't really care about like jade necklaces. I don't want to be here for like an hour. So I'd rather do something else. And also I wake up late. So I don't like morning. Kasi parang nakabakasyon ka na nga tapos you put yourself on a schedule pa. Are you a planner?
I think I'm in between. Okay. Just because I feel like I'm a big foodie myself.
Right. Yeah.
Even cafes. Now naman matcha yung trip ko. So parang there's just, alam mo yung may mga certain restaurants or cafes.
Kailangan
that
maaga ka.
Yeah, it's nice to enjoy
Yeah.
it in the morning and then some naman at night.
Yeah.
So I'm in between kasi parang feeling ko naman when
Sayang
I'm,
naman if you don't
sayang.
plan.
When,
I get
when
it.
I'm too relaxed, sayang naman. So
Yeah.
parang not naman na siya to the T.
Okay.
But at least I know where I'm going the next day.
Right.
I have
Well, ganun din naman kami. General outline, but not like 9 o'clock we have to be here. 9:30 we have to be here. Because my wife plans.
Yeah.
At least whenever. Siya kasi, she's of the mindset na, look, nandito tayo, wag nating sayangin. Like,
me.
oo. Ako naman, look, we're on vacation.
Vacation.
Let's chill because we don't get to do this at home.
Yeah.
So,
Sounds
we balance
very,
each other out.
Yeah, that sounds very familiar. Ganyan na ganyan din si Mikey. He was just like, ba't ka nagmamadali? Bakit ka
nakabakasyon
nagplan?
na nga
And I was
tayo
just like,
eh. Oh.
First time natin in this country. But this one, curious question. Since you say na you're more of an explorer type of traveler, did it change when you were with your kids?
Yes. Definitely. Before kasi you could get lost on a random street and it's like, it's okay. There's 2 adults or it's just 1 adult and like you can find your way out of it. Now, you have to factor in na parang malinis ba yung banyo dito in case we need to change a diaper or whatever. When we went to Tokyo recently, it was always like we could eat anywhere. We could eat at like a convenience store. We could eat at like a ramen bar na as in may 1 hour and a half waiting and like nakapila. If you have 3 kids, good luck waiting an hour and a half. You know what I mean? Like our restaurant choices for the last trip that we had was saan tayo kasha, anong available. Yun na yun. Like hindi na kami choosy at all na parang in the sense na before we could go to like a really nice omakase, whatever. Wait 2 hours, really enjoy the food. Ngayon, we wolf everything down. Like, as in, kailangan we finish the food as quickly as possible because, our kids will get impatient or whatever. And yeah, so it really definitely changes. Naka 3 strollers pa kami. So we can't also go to places na maliliit yung spaces kasi saan mo ilalagay yung stroller kahit naka-fold pa yan. Diba? So yeah, it changes a lot. So it's I like it. I like it in the sense na offers a very different adventure na parang kung nagawa mo na to as the way I see it, parang in video game terms, nag-single player game ka na eh. Multiplayer ka naman ngayon. So, I like it.
So, would you guys plan a trip na it's just you and your wife and then another trip na with the kids naman? Let's say in a year.
Ideally, that would be nice. But there's also that parental guilt of like, if we go on a trip na tayong dalawa lang, sure, we'll enjoy it. But like, who's gonna watch out for the kids, while we're away? So there's always that, I guess, feeling of guilt for us.
Yeah.
So what usually happens is my wife also goes on a lot of trips on her own because of work. So she goes on a trip on her own and I'll stay at home. And then if I have to go on a trip, then she stays home. So nag-alternate lang kami. And on the very rare occasion where, I get to ask my dad to watch over the kids or whatever, then we'll have like a nice trip to ourselves. But that does not happen often at all.
Do you guys still have a dream destination, not just the 2 of you, and dream destination with your kids?
Dream destination with just the 2 of us. My wife's always wanted to go to Egypt. We've never been. I've always wanted to go to Iceland. I heard it's beautiful. And Bruges is one of them. My wife has wanted to go to Germany and Russia. In terms of kids, luckily, I think we got to go to pretty much where we want to take the kids to naman. Maybe if they get into geeky stuff like I do, maybe one of these days I can take my kids to Comic-Con. That would be great. Although that would be a challenge, but it'd be nice. I just don't know how to deal with kids on a really long haul flight. Kasi yung 4 to 5 hours ng Japan, medyo nababaliw na ako. So hindi ko alam kung paano yung mga tipong 12 hours to the States or something. Yeah,
maybe when
nice
they're a little
layover.
older.
Yeah, maybe when they're a little older, when they can when they don't have to wear diapers and stuff. So yeah, that'll be
But
nice.
how often do you guys travel in a year? Not as a family.
As a family, 3 times, 2 times a year.
Well, that's also a lot.
It's pretty. I told my wife is really into. That's always been our thing.
Yeah.
Traveling, so we make it work.
Do you have a system to follow when you're with your kids?
Yes. In the sense na it's more of the logistics of it, the packing. Kunwari, dati, tago 1 suitcase pa kami ng wife ko. Now, when we traveled, we had to figure in na, okay, 1 hand has to be on the kid, and then another hand on the, and then 2 suitcase in 1 hand. So, we pack by how many hands are free. Buti nga lately, my kids have been cooperative in the sense. Before kasi they want na parang, stroller tayo to the plane and then stroller out. Now they're like, okay, stroller when we get to the hotel and then when we're walking na. Because it frees up our hands.
Yeah.
So I guess that's our system.
Yeah.
Now my wife and I share one suitcase because the kids take up so much space in terms of packing. Like the diapers, the milk, the medicine.
Yeah.
You have to bring medicine because sometimes, like especially in countries that are not, English first, you also don't know like ano yung
it's
equivalent nitong gamot
sa
na to dun,
pharmacy
diba?
nila, it's hard.
So yeah, man. I'm telling you, like it's like new game plus with kids.
It's like a new challenge. Na naman. So do you ever have that feeling pa na, that feeling when you go to another country na you haven't been to, that yung sense ng uncertainty?
Parang nagbago yung destination. Kasi dati parang, okay, you've already been, not that, hindi naman ako nagsasawa mag-travel eh. Pero, you just see it from a different perspective, different lens. Cheesy na akong cheesy and cliche na akong cliche. But honestly, like, because a lot of people will say na hindi na naman nila maaalala yan when tumanda sila
actually, madami nagsasabi.
And honestly, like I was of the same mindset when my kids were a little bit younger. But seeing them so happy, worse naman yung pagod, pati yung budget. Worse naman, no. So doon din nakakatawa na parang, ba't ka ba nagtatrabaho, di ba? Para syempre to provide the better life for your kids, for your family, and seeing them, their faces light up whenever they see their favorite characters, whenever they go on their rides. And you're never gonna see that again. Like one day they're gonna be old, they're gonna be moody teenagers that don't want to hang with their parents. And until then, sulitin ko na to na habang their world revolves around you pa. And
and like I guess with the technology now, they can always look back.
That's true.
Even if they don't clearly remember. It's nice to look back. And
parang, look, I didn't hate pala my parents when I was younger. Oh my God.
So when they start getting their attitudes, labas
ko lang na parang, remember this?
Guys?
Remember this moment when all you said was, I just want to be with you, Papa. Now you don't want. Now all you want is your boyfriend.
Like you're ready na. Parang ready na yung lines
ready.
mo.
I have 2 daughters, so I need to prepare myself emotionally for that.
Staying connected while traveling used to be so complicated, like juggling SIM cards or scrambling for airport Wi-Fi. Now, there's no need to worry thanks to Smart's eSIM, TRAVē. Just select your destination, activate, and you're instantly connected wherever you land. Make every trip smoother, exactly how you like it. Choose Smart's eSIM, TRAVē, and stay connected effortlessly.
Now that we've talked about what you're looking forward to in your next travels, also some of your travel experiences with kids, it's now time to uncover more of your personal preferences naman when it comes to self-discovery or like when it comes to traveling.
Okay.
So for this one, I have just a few questions.
Okay.
So I think this one we've covered, pero can you give me the top 3 destinations that's currently on your bucket list?
Just me.
Yes, sige.
Me lang?
Oo.
Okay. Iceland. I want to go back to Zermatt on my own because it's so, as in parang wallpaper lahat. Nag-Windows system ka ba ever? Alam mo yung Windows na desktop? Yung parang green na bundok.
Yes,
Literal ganun yung makikita mo. When you look out the train, yun lang yung makikita mo. Tapos may yung baka na black and white. Hindi yung payat na brown. Yung legit, as in, mag-solid yung milk
real.
nito. Ganun. Parang, it's so surreal seeing that. So that's one. Maybe another place that I've always dreamt of going up to Machu Picchu. I don't know if my endurance and stamina can handle it, or maybe my knees, because I hear it's quite a hike. It's quite a hike. But without kids and it's just me, those are the top 3 that I would like to go to.
All right, as a family.
As
I
a
need to ask.
family, well, yun nga. When you say kasi family, I always think of just what my wife's destinations are. So as of now naman, my kids are like, anywhere, we'll go anywhere as long as it's fun. So for my wife, I know she wants to go to Egypt. Greece is maybe one of them. And she's a big beach person. So maybe like Maldives or something. But my budget is not pang Maldives. Pwede mo magpansol na lang tayo, babe. Mas kaya.
Malapit na yan.
But
All right.
those are, I guess, some of the destinations.
Okay, that's nice. So I think you guys, like, you and your wife, mas scenic yung mga gusto nyong...
She's more of she likes warm weather, so she
Mhm.
likes beaches and whatever. I like the snow. I like
Yeah.
cold. Pawisin kasi ako sa... And parang, for me kasi parang, alis ka na nga ng Pilipinas. Doon ka na sa walang ganong
Oo
weather, di ba? Kasi kung beach lang, Boracay, Palawan, ang daming pwede puntahan dito na
madaming
maganda eh.
island.
Na as in, at par with the
Yeah.
beaches of the world, di ba? But what we don't have is ice. Di ba?
Yeah.
So parang, I'll go to the
Makes
icy
sense.
places.
Makes sense. All right, next question is, what are your top 3 songs on your playlist for a road trip? Is it hard? Or meron na?
No, not really. Like, I love Incubus. I've always been a big fan age group. So, any Incubus song will do. Maybe not Drive. Kasi parang everyone's road trip song is Drive. Eh. So, parang not Drive. Maybe like Pardon Me or something. Another one is You're a Tourist, Death Cab for Cutie. And then the third one is probably the youngest song I have on my playlist is 7 by Jungkook. For some weird reason, I love it. Try it I kid you not. When you're walking in the airport from like immigration to your gate, patugtog mo yung 7, sobrang sarap ng vibe niya na parang feeling mo ang pogi mo. Pero wala namang pakialam sa'yo. Parang Monday,
kulang.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Sarap lang na feeling. I don't know why. It just gives me a really good feeling. But yeah.
Okay, that's nice. At least meron akong isang alam dun sa...
Oh, yun. Oy,
sa
pero
top 3 mo.
Death Cab for Cutie is a solid band. You have to listen to.
I'm gonna look it
You
up
Are a Tourist.
mamaya.
Incubus, medyo wild yung discography nila eh. So, alam ni Mikey yan.
Kay Mikey ko pala
Kay Mikey mo tanongin yan.
Okay.
Cool ka dati pag Incubus yung pinapakinggan mo.
Alright. Now naman, what are your top 3 dream collaborations or projects that you'd love to do before the year ends? So we only have...
Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
that's like, you know what? Medyo hashtag blessed.
Mhm.
But luckily, like, I've been able to work with Marvel, DC, Star Wars. I've gotten to work with all of them. So I'm so happy about that.
Yeah.
Like, as in for the movies, I was sent by Marvel for DC Fandom, which was a global event. I got to host as the Asian host for 2 years. And for Star Wars, they sent me to Celebration in Japan. So covered na ako eh. In that
Na-cross
sense.
out na.
Oo eh. So,
But,
I guess
sige.
gaming sense,
Yeah.
yun yung medyo ano pa ako. I always wanted to check out a Valorant tournament. Like, so if there's a VCT happening sometime soon, that's one of the things that I wanted to go to. Wala na kasing E3 eh. But like, that was the Entertainment and Electronic Expo, which was like, where all the new games would be released or whatever. And, parang yun na lang eh.
Yun lang.
Oh, parang,
Wala na. Do you ever consider like, or do you look forward to working with a tourism board since you guys
oh, for sure. Yeah. I just don't know what I'd have to offer.
Yeah.
Alam mo yun, parang kasi kunwari, generally, when you're talking about the tourism board, a lot of people will be like, okay, because there are way more credible people to talk to about traveling. I love to travel. I don't know if I'm good enough to document traveling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I love the experience of being there, but I'm not one to, kunwari, parang, I have a few friends who are travel vloggers, travel and lifestyle, and they're so good at it. Like, they're really good. They'll wake up like at 4 a.m. to get a perfect shot of the TRAVē fountain in Italy or whatever. I'm not like that. Like, I'll be there along with the rest of the tourists at like 10 a.m. and I'll take a picture that's like, medyo tabingi pa or whatever. But it'd be nice. It'd be nice if they sent me. Like, I'd be great. Maybe if they had a team to do the actual shooting, that would be great.
Yeah, actually, I was about to say, na, you know what? I really had fun knowing more about how you guys travel as a family. Kasi ako, when I travel, I do solo travels. I travel with Mikey sometimes, and it's just the 2 of us.
Yeah.
And whenever we see families traveling, sobrang hanga kami talaga. Lalo sa parents. Like, paano?
Tawang-tawa kami kasi parang when my wife and I were in Disney Sea, we saw all the parents. And I'm like, look, babe, look at all the tired parents around us. Like, we're not alone.
Yeah.
Parang everybody had that, I guess, sort of understanding na, and it's cute because like all the tables were so filled with people for like lunch. Pero you would see how considerate they were na parang if they saw na parang one family to another. When they would stand up, they'd be like, hey, here, take this table. Because they saw na parang tatlo kami. Tapos parang, I'm so tired. I wanna go home. But like, yeah, it's nice when you have that. Diba, you trauma bond. So maybe that's why.
Trauma bond. But all right, that was really insightful. And to wrap up, let's leave our viewers some quick tips for traveling here in our final segment. This one is called Carry On Secrets.
Okay.
So for this one, it's like a quick fire lang. I'm gonna ask you a few questions. Just choose kung ano yung mas gusto mo.
Okay.
All right. So first one, scripted or spontaneous?
Spontaneous.
Airplanes or airwaves?
Airplanes.
Window seat or aisle seat?
Aisle.
Beach trip or mountain hike?
Mountain. Pero
Breakfast.
pwede bang walang hiking? Pwede bang mountain
Pwede
lang?
bang mountain lang
Hindi
na
mo
malamig?
nakakotse tayo paakyat doon. Kasi ayaw maglakad ng ganung kalayo.
Alright, breakfast at a local cafe or hotel buffet?
Ooh.
Tough. That's tough.
Ang hirap kasi gusto ko yung coffee ng cafe pero gusto ko yung unli bacon ng breakfast buffet. Di ba? So
Hindi pa take out, no?
sige, breakfast buffet sa hotel na lang tapos magkakape na lang ako after.
Afterwards. This one, roaming sim or instant eSIM?
eSIM.
eSIM.
Instant eSIM for me. Like, it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't want to have to think about it. And sometimes, like, it's just nice to just have it separate.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always just used an eSIM whenever it was available.
Yeah, actually. And it's really timely because now we have smart TRAVē.
Mm.
So have you ever tried the smart TRAVē app?
Yeah, so basically parang and what's nice about it pa is you can, even if you're not a smart subscriber,
Yes.
you can actually get it.
Yes.
Tapos you just set the amount of days, diba, na parang,
Yes.
okay, I'm here from like the 21st to the 27th and you have your eSIM already.
Yes.
Tapos, tama ba? If I'm remembering it correctly, you can set kasi depends on your phone yata na parang your messages and your calls come in through SIM 1, but your data only comes from your eSIM.
Yeah,
Something
some
to that
devices, they allow that.
Mm.
So with Smart TRAVē kasi, it's actually an application. It allows users to purchase eSIMs
Mhm.
and connect in over 80 overseas destinations. I know, ang laki ngayon ng market ng budget travelers.
Yeah.
Apparently, for Gen Zs, for solo travelers. And what's nice is, instead of yung paglapag mo pa lang sa airport, instead of looking for the kiosk.
Looking for a kiosk for an
Diba?
eSIM.
Yun usually.
Na minsan, because if you're flying budget, sometimes the flights are like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So all the kiosks are closed.
Yes.
And it has happened before. Now you don't have to worry
Yes.
about it, right?
That's really nice. So what's nice with Smart TRAVē is you can just purchase it before you go to the destination. When you get to the destination, turn on mo lang and then just choose the destination that you want. Choose the duration that you want and then you're good to go. Sobrang dali na
Convenient.
mag-travel. Yes, mas convenient na ngayon because before I know a lot of people would, alam mo yung parang alikaga sila. They're panicking, paano ba to? Kasi when we get to that destination, we always want to be online. We always want to be connected kagad. So that's why it's so nice that now we have Smart TRAVē. And then this one last question. What is your go-to pasalubong? Local delicacies or keychains?
You know what? A lot of people will hate me for this. I don't get pasalubong.
I don't.
I am, okay. Ito yung defense ko. Kasi
Okay.
most office people will be like, oh, ito, isang katutak na ichiran para sa'yo. Di ba? Parang ganon. Or isang katutak na alam mo yung time na nauso yung green tea Kit Kat. Everybody had green tea Kit Kat anytime they will go to Japan. I buy things for people if it reminds me of them. So like, let's just say I have a friend who owns like a French bulldog. And I see a really nice French bulldog bobblehead, which has happened before. Then I'll buy it. Even if it's not their birthday or anything like that. It's not alam mo yun, kasi parang, ang dami kasing nasasayang na time looking for pasalubong sometimes. And parang minsan,
Gets naman.
parang ito na naman, sawa-sawa na ako sa beef jerky galing Hong Kong or whatever na parang, you know what I mean? It's not that it's not any good because I love it. But I tend to go for more meaningful gifts than random out of courtesy gifts. So that's my defense. But if I had to pick, maybe a local delicacy.
Yeah. Mas food, no?
Then a keychain. Kasi parang naalala ko, may time na yung ref namin puro magnet ng random locations that my parents went to. And I'm like, how many magnets do I really need on this ref? You know what I mean? So,
but you personally, if you want to remind yourself of that certain destination, do you get something or you're just okay with the photos, with the videos?
Baduy, pero I'm okay with the memories. No,
yes!
I'm okay with the memories. No, yeah, I don't like buying, hindi ako makalat kasi sa bahay. So I don't like getting random trinkets. Unless it really speaks to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, kunwari, parang there was this little piece of like samurai armor from Japan that I got. Because it's very in tune with what I like. I like Japanese history and whatever. So, pasok. Pero in general, parang, kunwari, sa Baguio, di ba there's that barrel guy na pag tinanggal mo, hindi ako bumili nun. Parang, I mean, technically, I can buy it to remind myself of Baguio. But yeah, generally, hindi ako mabili ng stuff na ganun. So,
alright. At least, di ba? we're okay with the memories. Tama nga naman.
Diba? That's what you're there for.
Yes, that's
And
true.
Unless na lang magkasakit ka, hindi mo na makakalimutan yan. So, parang, yeah.
Totoo naman. But yeah, thank you so much, Gino, for
Thank you.
joining us today and for sharing with us your like travel experiences, even work experiences. It's very insightful. And is there anything that you want to share with the viewers?
Oh, like in terms of, well, I'm
Anything
jobless
to-
now. I'm jobless now.
I'm
We're not
jobless.
on radio anymore. So, but yeah, just follow us on socials. At Gino.Quillamor for me. That's pretty much everywhere. Streaming on Twitch. Joke. I'm really not. Like, I can't stream. I'll get canceled. Nothing really. Just enjoy your travel. Don't forget, in your hand carry, always bring extra underwear.
Mhm.
One set of underwear, one set of a t-shirt and jeans. That's it. Because in case they lose your suitcase,
Yes.
at least you have something.
Actually, that's true naman. I did
Don't
that.
forget your passport.
Yes. Please lang. And again, if you ever need something to stay connected, we have the Smart TRAVē.
Yes.
But yeah, that's it for today's episode of Wired to Wonder, powered by Smart TRAVē. If you like today's show, please make sure to stay connected with us through our socials. Again, this is your Sissy CK. Until the next episode, and we'll see you on the next one.
Till the next stop. Stay connected to Wired to Wander on socials for more stories, tips, and recos. Because self-care and me time through traveling are never overrated. Powered by Smart TRAVē. Now approaching your next destination. Wired to Wander is powered by Smart Communications, Incorporated. Views and opinions expressed by the host and guests are their own, so take what inspires you and travel smart.